outdoor workers in the United States could face 4 times as many days with hazardous heat by mid-century if action isn't taken to reduce greenhouse gas pollution, according to a report published Tuesday by the Union of Concerned Scientists, UCS. The consequences of that extreme heat can be severe. A new NPR Columbia Journalism School investigation found that at least 384 workers have died from environmental heat exposure in the last decade. And the problem is getting worse. The 3-year average of worker heat deaths has doubled since the early 1990s. The last 7 years have been the hottest on record, said Rachel Licker, the senior climate scientist and an author of the UCS report, said in a statement. Without additional protections, the risks to workers will only grow in the decades ahead as climate change worsens, leaving the roughly 32 million outdoor workers in our country to face a brutal choice: their health or their jobs. The report also projects a severe economic toll, with the average outdoor worker losing more than $1,700 each year because of work stoppages on days when heat and humidity top 100 degrees Fahrenheit, the point at which the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommends employers reduce work schedules. Lost wages from extreme heat are projected to amount to more than $55 billion annually. People of color, who are disproportionately represented in outdoor occupations, stand to be hit especially hard hit. More than 40% of U.S. outdoor workers identify as African American, Black, Hispanic or Latino, according to the report, and they could lose $23 billion in annual earnings by 2065 if no action is taken to reduce emissions. The finding mirrors previous research that has shown that residents of low-income areas and communities of color in American cities endure far higher temperatures than people who live in whiter, wealthier areas. Kristina Dahl, a UCS senior climate scientist and an author of the report, said in statement that existing inequities faced by people of color, including increased exposure to air pollution, lack of access to quality health care and adequate cooling, and underfunded social services, can compound the impact of extreme heat. Migrant workers, she said, including those in the country illegally, are especially at risk. In addition to the heightened risks posed by climate change, the UCS report highlights the lack of federal worker protections as a major issue for worker safety. As NPR has previously reported, at least a dozen companies have had multiple employees die from environmental heat exposure. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, has not adopted a national heat standard to safeguard workers and often decides not to penalize companies for worker deaths. The report's authors call for a number of policy changes, including adapting worker schedules to coincide with cooler times of day and lessening overall workloads.